I'm messing up the eye makeup, I'm sorry. Whew. It's a good question. The hardest moment definitely would be sitting in that waiting room after my MRI. The doctors telling me I tore my ACL. I was pushing the ball in transition. It was probably in like almost a full sprint. I didn't have the angle to get a layup anymore, so I tried to stop and plant, and my knee sort of just gave out. And I felt something. It felt like sort of like a snap or a pop, or it just didn't feel right. And I went down, and I slapped the floor, and I was like, dang, it's my knee. But I got up, and I couldn't really walk on it. So a couple of my teammates carried me and walked me to the training room. And I think that's when the sort of real wave of emotions came in, and because I knew what it meant and how it felt, and just I had that experience before. I think as soon as surgery happened, I knew that for me personally, I wanted to have a completely different approach, completely different mindset. I didn't really learn until this injury how important it is to take care of your body, take care of your nutrition, take care of your sleep, take care of activating your body before you go play. I was a huge person that just came to the gym, tied their shoes, and would get right on the court. And I just loved to play. So I didn't like doing all the little things that separate the good from the great. Sort of looking at it super big picture and long term, and how I want not like a 5 or 10 year career, like I want a 20+ year career. So taking care of myself and my body is what's gonna get me there. So I think talking with a lot of different people, working with Susan, working with Hootie, working with the whole training staff and team here, they sort of helped me see the big picture and a better perspective on that. In some situations, I would skip a meal because we would have practice, or I'd want to sleep in. So just prioritizing eating and getting up earlier. Some days I start my days with Pilates, some days I start my day with rehab, and sort of just maintenance, taking care of my body in that way. Physically, I feel so much stronger than I was before. Obviously still the skinny build, but a lot more lean muscle. But I think mentally is the biggest thing. Like a lot of times when you're coming back from an injury, the mental approach and the mental block is the hardest part to get past. But for me, I've worked so hard. I changed who I am as a person, as a player, and I have extreme confidence. I've also just really expanded my faith and grown in my faith. So I have extreme confidence in the path that God has for me, in the way that I prepare my body, prepare my mind, completely change my routines and my habits. Mentally, my confidence is there. There'll be times in practice where I'm still a little second guessing, going into the paint, going into crowded areas. But overall, the confidence in my body and the way I feel right now is at an all-time high. I mean, the whole journey of rehab, sitting, having to watch my teammates play, having that just sick feeling of not being able to go out there and help them. And obviously, a lot of people don't talk about the FOMO that you're having, just the fear of missing out. And you don't want it to be oh, I'm jealous of my teammates, but that's how it feels sometimes. And it's just an awful feeling because those are my sisters. I love them so much. I wish nothing but the best for them. And it's not like I'm envious or jealous of them. It's more just I wish that was me too. I want to be out there with them. When you're going through the long process of rehab, it gets super monotonous and super repetitive. The first 3 or 4 months, I would say, was the worst. You're barely getting on the court, and it's just working on extension and flexion of your knee, working to get your quad strength back. And then I think when I went home for Christmas and just spent 3 days with my family, did nothing but just sat on the couch and hung out, that sort of rejuvenated me, and just seeing my family just made me really happy. Around Christmas, I started to do more on the court and starting to get the ball in my hands a little bit more, which was really also just reviving to the whole rehab process. When this injury first happened, I thought a lot about Kobe. I read the Mamba Mentality book and how he just looked at his injury as another way to prove people wrong and as another thing to accomplish. I mean, Kobe loved challenges, so anything that he could face that people had doubts of that he could overcome is what made him want to do it even more. So his mentality, his approach, just how much he dedicated his life to the game. And honestly, a lot of my teammates have gone through ACL injuries, have gone through major injuries. I watched in the WNBA and the NBA, in the NFL, people coming back from ACL injuries. Klay Thompson as well, came back from 2 major injuries, won an NBA championship. But I see inspiration around me every day with my teammates, and just be able to lean on them and ask them questions and ask how their process went. There was a lot of things that kept me going. I mean, the team around me, there was so many people helping me between staff here, people I work with in LA, Susan, who I work with out on the West Coast as well, but my coaches, my teammates, the athletic training staff, so many other people. I mean, even the kitchen staff helping me eat, get stronger, putting great stuff in my smoothies, so I'm making sure I'm taking care of my body. Me to see how much they're pouring into me, it makes me want to work hard and make their work for me pay off.
Your teammates told me that you're really good at internalizing your emotions, and so sometimes they felt like you were trying to hide from them how much it hurt, but you didn't want it to be a burden on them. So can you take me through some of those moments of how you just grappled with that and how you tried to be a good teammate for them at the same time?
Yeah, sorry. It's a good question. Hiding my emotions was definitely hard as well. Like you said, it just hurt so bad not being able to go out there, especially with all the stuff we were going through as a team. But I think the biggest thing for me was just coming in every day, making sure that nobody saw the dark times and the sad times I was going through. And as a team leader, I was just trying to do everything I could to just have a positive attitude about everything and make sure that every time I came into the gym, every time I came to practice, every time I came to rehab, I had a great attitude, I had a smile on my face. Everybody has bad days, don't get me wrong. I came in some days and everybody could tell it wasn't a good day for me. So as much as it was hurting, I was just trying to, number one, be a great teammate. That's the most important thing to me. I have a lot to prove, but just for our team, we have a whole lot to prove. A lot of naysayers, a lot of doubters. When we see it, we pretend like we don't, but we do. We might save it, screenshot it. I'm not saying I do, but maybe. But we see everything, we remember everything, we keep it in our back pocket. Especially when you come to UConn, you come to win national championships. And this year, next year, or coming up on the last couple of years where we can make it happen. So through the injuries, I've had confidence issues in terms of our brands and organizations, and people still gonna wanna invest in me. Do they still believe in me? Do they think I can come back from this? It could be easy to be oh, she's had a couple of injuries these past couple of years, let's go to somebody else. So to see them still invest in me and still believe in me has meant the world to me and given me a lot of confidence. I mean, going through it, you sort of feel forgotten. Your impact isn't as great because you're not doing things on the court. People don't remember who you are as a player, who you are as a person. And you kind of just feel in the background. But to go to games, to have people on the sidelines, kids there still wanting pictures, still wanting me to sign their posters, still wanting me to interact with them, that meant a lot and made me feel still I was loved and still I was a part of the team.
What have you learned about yourself the most throughout this process?
I would say growing in my faith, just being able to look at it not as an obstacle, but just a wave of adversity, just something that I can get through. And God, He didn't promise that there wouldn't be obstacles, but He did promise that He would be there every step of the way. So just knowing that and just approaching it with a different mentality of just attacking it and getting through it, getting over it. Because there's blessings on the other side. When you're in the spotlight so much and then you're injured and you feel like you're forgotten, you realize how blessed you are to be able to be in that position in the first place. Then you realize never take it for granted, never complain about being in the media too much. Do you know how many people would want to be in your shoes where you're on one of the best teams in the country and you're doing well in basketball? And you're getting these NIL deals, so as much as some days you're tired, some days you don't want to go to the photo shoot, some days you don't want to go to practice, just realizing how blessed you are and how fortunate you are to be in those situations and how many kids would do anything to be in your shoes. Because if you're only appreciating the good times, when the bad times come, you're not going to be ready to conquer it with the right mentality. Everybody sees the followers on Instagram, everybody sees the great times on the court. Social media only shows the good side of things. So I want people to be able to recognize that you can't just go through life and everything's going to be perfect, everything's going to be great. There's going to be hard times, there's going to be rough times. There's going to be waves of adversity, but it's how you attack it and how you approach it is what's going to get you through. I've always played with a chip on my shoulder just because I always feel like I have something to prove. And I remember when I got injured, I knew the hate was coming. I knew so much was coming, but I think I said it in my post when I initially tore it. Like, the support means so much. Like, I do it for the people who believe in me, but the people who doubt me, it might mean even more. I think I'll know when I prove the doubters wrong is when they start hating again. Like, honestly, when they stop talking about my injury and they just talk about what I don't do on the basketball court and what I'm bad at and stuff they try to find like that. So, I mean, honestly, as much as I don't like when people hate on me, it's a good thing because that means if you don't have haters, you're not popping. So that's what it means. My UConn experience has been crazy. Freshman year was COVID. Sophomore year, I injured my knee, missed 20-some games, I believe. Junior year, didn't play at all. So definitely not how I thought it would pan out and what I imagined when I was in high school. But I wouldn't trade my life for the world. I know that everything I've went through up to this point has shaped me to be who I am as a person and as a player. And if I didn't go through some of the things I went through, I wouldn't be who I am. The story I want is just a story of overcoming adversity, working so hard, having an extremely great work ethic, and show kids that you can overcome anything with a great work ethic, with great faith, with great people around you, with a great attitude. And at the end of the day, I want my story to be changing the world off the court and being a winner and great teammate on the court. I want to win at every level, win national championships, win in the WNBA, win at an Olympic level, and just have a long career. Obviously, I wish there could have been no injuries, but it's just a part of my story and a part of my journey in life. But definitely hoping to make the most of the time that I have left here out of the crazy sort of roller coaster journey I've been on already.